Okay, I think we are recording. Wait,
Yep.
hang on. Yeah, we are recording. All right, welcome everyone to our November Computer Science Learning event. And if you can, share in the chat what brings you here today and what is your role at your office or school, just so we know who's here. And we'll go to the next slide. So I'd like to welcome you to our learning event and also introduce you to our presenters today. So we have Alida Patton from AMR. She's a resource teacher. Pam Kohara shared this morning. So she's in our morning recording. We have Shane Esselstein from Pro City Waipahu. He's a resource teacher. We have Fern White all the way from the Big Island from HKKK, resource teacher. She's a resource teacher. And I'm Janine Nakakura, resource teacher with OSID in computer science and distance learning. And then we have Faith Ishihara, who is our slides pilot right now. She's piloting our slides. So hi, say hi, everyone. And I know in the recording, it only shows whoever's speaking. So I guess it's showing me, unless you all like say something. Okay, next slide. All right, so let's start off with our bell ringer. So in the chat, if you could, please type out why do you think we have technology glitches during virtual meetings? Okay. So as you're thinking and typing, I am going to put the agenda into the chat so that you have access to all of our resources.
So Alita says to keep things interesting. Yes, for sure. To keep us on our toes, right? Oh, and that's what Mickey said. Keep us on our toes. Neat.
Okay,
Oh,
sorry, I'm putting the agenda into the chat.
and Fern says the mini hoonies that go their hands. Yep, those little mini hoonies.
So let me give you a story. I had an really old router last year. I think it was when we were right in the heart of virtual meetings. And every time I'd go into a meeting, my coworkers would say, Janine, you're freezing. We can't, hear you, or you're breaking up. So, leave the meeting and come back. And I just had problems. So I found out that my router was really old. So I had my son change it for us when he was back home during the holidays. And that seems to have done the trick. I think mine was I just had really old um, equipment and I just needed to upgrade things. But thank you for sharing. A lot of you just said, to keep things interesting, to be on our toes, keep the Minnehoonies, the little Minnehoonies, let go their hands, etc. Okay, thank you. So let's go to the next slide. And here's our agenda for today. If you click on the brown agenda, boldface, you will get a link to our agenda, which has our schedule, our presentation, recording links, resource links, etc., all the good stuff. Okay, so everything should be in there. If it's not, I will update it. So I put that into the chat. And if somebody wants to put it back in there in the chat while I'm talking, that would be much appreciated. So just as a review, we started off at the beginning of the year with the 5 core concepts and an overview. And now we're kind of focusing in on each core concept in a little more depth. So today we are focusing on, networks and the internet. Okay, so I can barely read that. So if you want to see things in more detail, you can look at this progression chart. The core concepts go down the left, those colored blocks, and then going across are the standards for the grade level bands from lower elementary all the way to high school. And there's a backside too, so don't forget to look at the back. Okay, next slide. So, because we have great internet and we can network virtually, especially in the past year and a half, we had we were able to offer our complex area leads and some of their teachers and staff to attend the CSTA virtual conference in 2021 in the summer. And so they are here to share what they learned. And so I will introduce our first guest, who is Shane Esselstein, complex area teacher for Pearl City, Waipahu.
Hi. You want me to start, or you thought you were
Yeah,
going
go
to the
ahead.
guest?
It's all
Okay.
yours, Shane.
All right. I don't know what that slide is. So next slide. Or you want me to introduce myself?
No.
It's like I've never done this before. This is so strange. Anyway, so I'm joining you guys, sharing what I did with my complex area. So we were fortunate enough that the state offered three scholarship, if you will, positions to go to CSTA conference. And so our complex area matched that, and we sent three as well. So we sent total six total. And so I collected some of the feedback from the conference, and I picked these two. One is Cindy Takara from Waipahu High School, who shared about the CSTA Honor Society and how she felt that she'd like to encourage others to take that opportunity to expand your CS options and CS offerings at the schools and become part of that CSTA Honor Society. So another program that CSTA runs. And she's provided the apply button right down there if you want to just go ahead and check it out. Right after this session, I think she said she went ahead and just signed herself up in her school. So it was great. On the next slide, you'll see that our other high school teacher, Thaddeus O'Donnell, he went, and one of the things that he was really inspired him was how much they took into consideration the equity and inclusion, and more so specifically in the two keynotes. So for instance, the one by Amy Coe that you see down there and Zaretta Hammond. If you have access to the CSTA recordings, you can actually go in and watch those two. But he felt he in his writing, you'll read how he felt the sense of belonging right away from the way they presented that session, right? And that really touched him and kind of reached out to him to feel part of a bigger computer science community, which was great. For myself, just briefly, there were three things that I kind of went there looking for, three kind of topics I was looking for. And so if you do have access to the recordings, I suggest checking out that 3D modeling with code and BlocksCAD. So if you're thinking about that maker space, the 3D printing kind of realm, and then integrating computer science, it's a great way to do that. The next session I went to was to see the reveal of the new code.org AI and machine learning unit for the CSD Discoveries program. Another unit, basically a seventh unit for the CSD program, which is absolutely fantastic and can be seen as possibly that second level of computer science at your middle schools and high schools. And then of course we ended with, since we're in a bigger CS leads meeting and we're constantly talking about curriculum, TEC put on a session about creating a rubric to evaluate computing curricula. And we just happened to be working together as a team in the state, with the state CS leads and the state CS team on building a tool that we can utilize to do just that. So we're looking forward to incorporating some of their ideas into there. And then finally, just one of those things is, if you do have access to the CST recordings, to the conference, all of the materials are now posted. You can look at all the sessions, all the recordings of the videos, and all of the slide decks as well, right? They'll all be available to you. You can search for them. You can see in the picture there by topic, by track, by interest. You can keyword search them or just browse through all the pages. There's several pages of sessions that you can look through there, and I'm sure you'll find something that can resonate with what you're looking for computer science.
Great, thank you, Shane. Now I'd like to introduce Alita Patton from AMR complex area, and she will share her what she learned or took away from the conference.
Hi everyone, Alita Patton with I am on Lower Radford, and I usually like to go before Shane because Shane has so much more stuff. But I just linked a few sites that were shared. The CS107 Unthinkable has a lot of resources there, along with CS Unplugged, lots of still unplugged activities to do. Sometimes teachers think that they need a computer in order to be successful with computer science, but that's not always the case, and we do want to make sure that they know that. And it helps that there are all of those resources there packaged nicely. The last link with PBL was Scratch. PBL is a big thing. Our complex area is starting to look into delving in deeper. And so how can we pair PBL with Scratch? So there was a lot of good stuff there. The one thing I did like was they shared a lesson idea of a PE teacher and a computer science teacher working together in an elementary. And what they had was the kids programmed microbits to be step counters. And then they took those step counters to PE class, and the kids were able to kind of track their steps. They also incorporated math, so they created graphs so they could kind of see trends and stuff like that. So I thought that was a really cool way to have kids create something that, you know, adults have, you know, they hear people talk about, but they make it themselves, they program it so they can kind of take ownership of it. Yeah, so that was my big takeaway. And since Shane shared all of the places to find stuff, please go peruse at your convenience.
Right, thank you, Alita. And now we have Fern White from the Big Island to share her takeaways and her teachers' takeaways from the CSTA virtual conference.
Aloha. Yeah. So we were really blessed. Kim Dempsey of Kealakahe Intermediate and Shauna Gunnarsson of Konawaina Middle School and myself, the three of us were able to attend. And Kim had some really, I'm just really blessed, you know, for those of you that have been on the journey as I learned. I've been trying to build this team in West Hawaii, and these ladies come on board and they really got it. They really have the enthusiasm and the energy that can help us move forward here in our complex area. So Kim, when she went to the conference in the summer, she talked especially about the CSO second edition and the CMU CS Academy. So there's some details in there on the slide that you can access. But I think her biggest takeaway was that she really made time to go to the conference because she wanted to increase her own ability and her skill set. And so her last paragraph is where she says, I'm finding the student experience is user-friendly. And although I am navigating the teacher portal, and available support materials, it's proving to be user-friendly as well. So she really had some anxiety towards really being able to help her students. And she also commented that students that had never coded were enjoying it, and she's having a good time being able to troubleshoot. And then Shauna, on the next slide, Shauna Gunnarsson on the next slide. Ladies, oh, shoots, I'm trying to follow it here too. Okay, sorry. She talked about how computer science is political. And some of you may know Shauna already from her, she was a CTE DRT in the position that I currently hold prior to me for 1 year. She talked about the work of Dr. Abigail Joseph and how she's using discovery, discussion, and design to take them to unique places and connections within the CS. She especially sets up Jamboards. She's very interactive with her students. And I think her excitement is about being able to engage her students a little bit more with culminating activities and presentations, and having students identify themselves with the possibilities of being part of a larger community. And then I just highlighted my sharing as a little bit of a broader thing. And I love that I'm piggybacking off of both Shane and Aletta, because they provided those links that are they already mentioned some of the places to go. For me, going to the Summer Institute was, I really, really enjoyed the keynotes. Sometimes, I mean, no offense to keynote speakers, and I have been one on occasion for other things, but sometimes a keynote isn't always that exciting, right? Because they're passionate about one thing and they get focused on that one thing, or the information they have from whoever's producing the event narrows the scope of what their conversation is. But I thought that the keynotes were really, really inspiring, and I took away quite a few quotes and utilize them in my presentations. I had a renewed passion for the computer science work, and I think that that also happened for Kim and Shauna. And then the big thing was, oh, hello, yeah. So I like totally use my little goodie. Wait, where's the thing? Yeah, I
Okay.
totally, I have my little personalized Hawaiian cowgirl. Hawaiian, oh, shoot, I'm such a, oh, fuck, yeah, geriatric, as my daughter would say, right? I have my personalized iBuds, right? iPod buggers. But these guys die, and these are really pretty daggone good. And we got them, it's just because we were there. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like a really fun bonus. I mean, you know, I usually think of swag as, you know, how can I put that in a container that I'm going to use at a teacher presentation and say, help yourself. But this is not a help yourself. The water bottle was, but not this one, right? Mickey's nodding her head. So thank you guys so much. I think that covers most of it.
Thanks, Fern.
Thank you, Fern. So now we're going to go into networks and the internet. So next slide. And here are a few standards we're going to cover. Thank goodness we have good networks and internet so we can learn all of these wonderful things at virtual conferences and webinars or sessions like this. So some of the things we'll cover: using strong passwords, brainstorming ways to improve accessibility and usability, tongue twister, of technology to meet the diverse needs and wants of users, and systematically identify and fix problems with computing devices and their components. So if you're having trouble, you know, with technology during these virtual sessions, do you know what's causing it? So here's an article that I was reading when I was doing research for this, and it's from Civil Beat, and it talks about during the pandemic, which is now, but when we're doing lots of virtual meetings and distance learning, we found out that there's a lot of inequity with where the internet is accessible and you know, bandwidth and broadband and so forth not being available on certain parts of the island or on certain islands. So what this group is doing is trying to do a survey of where, you know, where there is good internet and bandwidth and where there is not. And a lot of this information is proprietary because the companies that provide internet service to various communities don't want to let their competitors know. And they also say for safety reasons. So anyway, what they're doing is a crowdsourcing kind of gathering of data where you can take a speed test and then put your data into their survey so they have an idea of, you know, what's available throughout our state. So what I would like you to do is to try one of these speed tests, okay? And check your computer. And while you're trying to do that, I'm going to ask Faith if she can show us what her speed is on her computer. Okay, so she's going to try one of those speed tests. And
So just hit the go button when you do yours. And
so if you can put yours into the chat, if you can, we're kind of curious to know what your bandwidth or internet speed is, and you'll get a download speed and an upload speed. So I put the agenda into the chat again, and if you go to our agenda, you can find those links to the speed test. Wow, 20.13, Faith? That's pretty slow.
I was just going to say, you'll see that my numbers are a little sad.
Yeah, and we had some people at 400 something this morning. I don't know how they got that, but so if anybody wants to, you know, put theirs into the chat, just curious. Mickey, 140. Are you at work, Mickey?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So while you're doing that, we'll go to the next slide. Okay. I know some of you are still waiting, so we'll go to the next slide. And after this slide, in the article, there's another link, and it just talks about, you know, how different parts of our island or our state has difficulty with accessing virtual or online materials, or just even, trying to get online is not possible for some of our students. Okay, yeah, like Fern's on the Big Island, and there are parts of the Big Island where the coverage is not very good, just because, it's so remote, or the cables don't go out there for whatever reason. Okay, so the next slide, here's an example. I think this is from this morning. Shane put his speeds in from this morning. So you see, like, I don't know what he pays for his internet, but he's got good internet. And if you go to that link right below, how to check your internet speed, if Faith could click on that. I'm not going to go over this in detail, but I just wanted you to see what's in there. So this is just a good informational article about what your speeds mean. What does the download speed mean? What does the upload speed mean? What is latency? And then, if you scroll down, what determines your internet speed? Okay. Do you have dial-up? Do you have cable? Do you have fiber, DSL, satellite? And how can you get the most accurate speed? Okay. Like for me, it was the router. That was one thing that helped. I still have issues, but at least I fixed the major issue. And then, what do your results mean? And we scroll a little more. Can you scroll? Oh, a little more up, maybe. So the bottom line is get a better internet plan. But if you scroll just a little, go down. Oh. Okay, so anyway, you can look at this article to find out ways to improve your internet speed. Okay, and it's really interesting. So this is part of networks and the internet for computer science. Okay, next slide. So I'll hand it over to Faith now.
Yeah, so when we talk about network and the internet, we want to keep our information and our devices safe. So one of the most effective and really doable ways of doing that is having strong passwords. And so there is a link at the bottom of this slide, and it talks a little bit more into depth about how to create a strong password, but some overall ideas is keeping it random, no shorter than 17 characters, having a different password for different accounts, and changing out your passwords every 90 days. And I was mentioning that I had seen this signage at a school, and it was talking about comparing passwords to your underwear. And it says, don't share it, change it often, and keep it private. I thought that was really cute. And so we'll go to the next slide. And here's a story. Linda Lucas has written 3 books, Hello Ruby, and this particular one is Exploration to the Internet. And it's a story, but it has some information in it as well. So these 2 little girls are good friends, and they decide on this snowy day what should they do, and they talk about the internet and how it's bursting with all of this information and opportunities, and let's make a snow internet. And so she goes to call some friends, and she almost gets falls into thin ice, and she realizes it's important to be careful and to watch for signs and pay attention to you know beware kind of notices. And so she goes back to where they were working on their internet and finds that through the help of her friends, they've already put it together and they've created this really cute snow internet. And upon reflection, they say the internet is made up of lots of little pieces all joined together. And it's a wonderful way for friends to connect with each other. And in the back of the story are about 30 something activities and exercises that you and your students can do. Things like understanding that the network is made up of many computers connected together, and they can be connected in different configurations, and looking at some of the different activities and exploring a little bit more into depth about networks and the internet. So if you are interested in borrowing this or other titles from the statewide ebook collection, here are simple steps on how to access that. Just go to Sora app enter your Hawaii DOE ID number, and students would do the same, their ID number, and peruse the collection. There are, in addition to ebooks, some audiobooks as well. So that kind of takes us full circle to back to the standards that we were saying we're going to cover about strong passwords and some of the other aspects. And we're going to now, I'm going to pass it over to Shane, and he's going to do a random name picker and see who has won our prize for today. So let me stop sharing and let Shane share his random
Ooh,
name.
so many names to pick from. Hang on. I gotta make sure I get them all in. Dana. And that's it. Just Dana. No. I'm gonna put Fern's name in there. I'm putting Mickey's name in there too. So
Yeah.
there we go. All right. So here we go. I will share my screen.
Round and round
You
it
got a pretty good
goes.
chance of winning, Fern. Dana,
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Where it stops, nobody knows.
just making sure, right? Okay, didn't miss anybody because I can't put Faith and
Big
Janine in
money,
there
big
or
money,
myself. So
big money.
here we go. Oh, I guess I could have. Well, Elita left us, right? She's not in here.
Yeah, she
Oh,
had
she left
another.
us. Okay, Fern, there's one. Am I doing another one or just one?
Yeah, do another
Yeah,
one.
let's do
All
another.
right, sorry, Fern, you're out for this one. Okay, Dana and Mickey, just rock, paper, scissors for this one. Here we go. Let's see. Ooh, that's a lot of blue, Mickey, to overcome. I don't know. I think Dana's going to win
All
that one.
right,
There
Dana's
you
a
go.
Yeah,
winner.
happy
You get
for
I'll
you.
mail
And
you an Hour of Code Unplugged prize pack.
Yeah,
Alrighty. Thank you
super.
for joining us, everyone, today.
And there is a little feedback form at the end. So we do appreciate any feedback you can share with us. And we thank you for your attendance and participation today. We had a whole lot of fun, and we hope you did too. And special thanks to our special guest presenters, Shane, Fern, and Alida. And if we ever have a chance to attend a CSTA virtual or face-to-face conference, please take advantage and go, because as we saw today, there are so many wonderful resources, and making connections and networking with other people, and just getting excited about computer science for our students.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording. Hang on. Stop the recording. Stop the recording. Got to do it 3